Leon Hale's second memoir, published 21 years ago, takes the form of recollections and recipes. Reading Supper Time always sends me on a winding excursion through my Texas past. I think a lot of us would have the same experience. There are dishes from Hale's first and only mother-in-law, Mimi Vick, her chicken and dumplings, pancakes, and ambrosia, and world-class fried chicken from Mary Elizabeth Adams, the lady who helped me raise my son. There are two recipes for peach cobbler from fishing friend Rusty Mitchum, a fish chowder from Buck Sloan called Guillotine Stew, beef enchiladas from the old New York Cafe in Bryan, and a hot queso from Hale's son, Mark. But the book speaks most clearly to me in Hale's inimitable voice of how entwined our memory is with what we eat. The day comes back when we ate it, cooked it, the table itself, the people who were with us then. At this time of pandemic restrictions, it seems as though our memory itself is hungry and looking for sustenance. The following excerpt is from Hale's youth and involves West Texas-style biscuits.
The biscuits I grew up with were not the light, puffed-up, flaky biscuits you see now on TV commercials. They were dome-shaped, like the tops of big mushrooms, and the domes were smooth and a beautiful burnt orange color. When they were overcooked, and most of them were, their bottoms were tough and dark brown and made a crunchy noise in your mouth when you bit one, even when it was hot. One Sunday afternoon, a neighboring family had come to visit, and a flock of us were gathered in the yard in the shade of a chinaberry tree. One member of the visiting family was a girl about 8 years old, maybe 9. Uncle Billy Crockett, who often entertained visitors, kept trying to talk to her, but she was shy to the point of pain and wouldn't communicate other than shaking her head yes or no. Finally, Uncle Billy said to one of the cousins, "Delbert, how about if you run in yonder to the kitchen and bring me 3 or 4 cold biscuits out of the pie safe?" He didn't have to wonder whether the biscuits were there. They were always there. So Delbert brought 3 biscuits, and Uncle Billy took them and held one in his right hand and began pitching it up about a foot high and catching it. He did this several times, the way a person might do when he's got a rock in his hand and he's thinking about throwing it if he sees the right target. This was Uncle Billy's way of timing his performance, waiting for the audience to get quiet and pay attention. When the moment was right, he said to the girl, "Now, what's your name again, honey?" And she'd duck her head and mutter, "Myrtle Jean." Then Uncle Billy asked her, "Well, Myrtle Jean, do you see that old hound dog laying over yonder asleep in the dirt?" Myrtle Jean looked and nodded, and Uncle Billy said, "Do you reckon I can throw this biscuit and hit that old dog in the mouth with it?" Myrtle Jean grinned and twisted and gnawed on her sleeve, wrapped her left foot around her right ankle, shook her head no. "All right," Uncle Billy said, and took a nickel out of his pocket. "If I can't do it, I'll give you this nickel." Then suddenly he flipped his wrist and the biscuits flew up maybe 10 feet high in the general direction of that dog. Understand that hound was 20 feet away and asleep, or seemed to be, when the toss was made, but that missile never hit the dirt. The hound sprung to his feet and was standing there waiting when the biscuit disappeared in his mouth. Everybody under the chinaberry tree laughed, and Uncle Billy said to Myrtle Jean, "Now watch, I can do it with my eyes shut." He closed his eyes and flipped the second biscuit. Same result, hit the hound square in the mouth. Then he said, I can do it backwards too. Not many people in the world can do it backwards. He turned his cane chair around and faced away from the dog and flipped the third biscuit over his shoulder. The pitch was a little high and to the right, but the hound moved under it with ease and took it on the fly. The fact is that this hound made his living that way. He had a lot of competition and needed to stay ready at all times. Country dogs then survived on leftovers out of kitchens, and when a biscuit or a bone was pitched off the porch, there'd be a dog in place to catch it. My guess is that Uncle Billy could have thrown all 3 biscuits at once, and not a one would ever have hit the ground. After his performance, he gave the nickel to Myrtle Jean anyway, and it was clearly a treasure to her. All the children loved Uncle Billy. The women did too.